The famine had lasted 3 years. The land of Israel was parched, the ground cracking like old pottery under the relentless sun. King David, seeking the cause of this divine displeasure, sought the Lord and received a grim answer. But the famine was due to blood guilt. Decades earlier, his predecessor, King Saul, had zealously slaughtered the Gibeonites, violating an ancient treaty of peace that Israel had sworn to uphold. To end the plague, justice was demanded. The Gibeonites, when asked by David what would satisfy them, refused gold or silver. They demanded blood for blood, 7 of Saul's male descendants to be executed and exposed before the Lord at Gibeah. David agreed. He spared Mephibosheth, the son of his beloved friend Jonathan, but he gathered the others. Among them were Armoni and Mephibosheth, the 2 sons of Rizpah, Saul's concubine. It was the beginning of the barley harvest when the 7 men were led up the hill of Gibeah. The Gibeonites carried out the grim sentence, executing the men and leaving their bodies exposed on the rocky sanctuary. A dire humiliation, as Jewish law commanded that bodies be buried by sunset. But this was an exceptional atonement, and the bodies remained, hanging under the open sky. The crowds dispersed. The king returned to his palace. But one woman did not leave. Rizpah, daughter of Aiah, climbed the hill. She carried with her a roll of rough sackcloth. She did not go to bury her sons, for the king's command forbade it. Instead, she spread her sackcloth upon a flat rock near the grisly scene and sat down. Thus began one of the most harrowing vigils in biblical history. For days the sun beat down on the bodies of her sons and the 5 sons of Merib. The smell of death began to draw the scavengers. Great carrion birds circled in the thermals above, waiting for the woman to tire. But Rizpah did not tire. When the vultures swooped down to tear at the flesh of her children, she sprang up, shouting and waving her arms, driving them back with a ferocity born of heartbreak. She became a living scarecrow, guarding the dead. Day turned to night, and the threats changed. As the sun set, the heat gave way to the chilling wind of the high country. The cries of jackals and wild beasts echoed from the wilderness, smelling the feast on the hill. Rizpah, likely exhausted and starving herself, did not sleep. She kept a fire burning, or perhaps stood with a staff, beating back the wild animals that crept close in the darkness. She did not do this for a night. She did not do it for a week. The Bible records that she stayed there, from the beginning of the harvest until the rain poured down from the heavens on the bodies. The barley harvest begins in April. The rains typically return in October. For up to 6 months, Rizpah lived on that rock. She endured the scorching summer heat and the terrors of the night, refusing to let the natural world desecrate the bodies of the men she loved. She became a gaunt, terrifying figure of grief, a testament to a love that was stronger than death, stronger than the king's decree, and stronger than nature itself. Word of this woman's vigil eventually reached Jerusalem. King David was told of Rizpah, the concubine of Saul, and what she had done. Her silent, screaming protest on the hill of Gibeah shamed the king and the nation. The execution had been political necessity, perhaps, but leaving them to rot was an indignity that her love had exposed. Moved by her devotion, David finally acted. He did not just order the burial of the 7, he went further. He retrieved the bones of King Saul and Jonathan from Jabesh-Gilead, where they had been secretly buried years before. David gathered the bones of the king, the prince, and the 7 men Rizpah had guarded. He gave them all a royal burial in the tomb of Kish, Saul's father. Only after Rizpah's vigil was honored and the dead were treated with dignity does the text say, "After that, God answered prayer in behalf of the land."